First time trying this coffee. It's not that bad. It's not good. It's not bad. It's in the middle. Anyways, the much promised Ruckus video. Now,
the battle is about to begin.
Ruckus is unfortunately a very, very good frontline champion, but he's a very, very bad tank. What do I mean by that? Well, alright, so let's compare him to your other tanks. Barrack has very strong point capability. He does have his turrets healing him, and he does have a frontal shield, and he does have a movement ability that grants him a shield. Ashe has a higher health pool than most of the other characters. If I remember correctly, she actually has the highest health pool in the game with her loadout card at 5. She has a shield that she can sit behind. She does have good damage reduction abilities. Knockback for keeping people at range. Another tank, Khan. He has personal shield. He has a way to heal himself and give himself damage immunity. Anara, everything about her is sustained. Fernando's good sustain. Makova's good sustain. Torvald. Ruckus, on the other hand, he does not have good sustain. And people say that, you know, Torvald, Ruckus, and Barrack, they're the weekend on tanks because they are lower health. Well, Barrack and Torvald are lower health. But why are Barrack and Torvald stronger than Ruckus is because, well, first off, Torvald recharges his personal shield, and you can run a build where everything you do, whether you nullify or you activate protection or you get an elimination, grants you 500 shielding. So you do have the ability to give yourself shields doing other parts of your kit. And Torvald does shield the rest of his team, so the rest of his team can take the brunt of the damage instead of him. And if you look at Barrack is, like I said before, he has good sustain on his turrets. He can grant himself a personal shield on a loadout card. He has his big barricade. Ruckus doesn't have that. Ruckus does very good damage, but if you look at legendary cards, your choices aren't very good. You have 2 damage options pretty much, but only one of them's any good. You have an evasion and you have a defensive. Now, unlike most characters where they, you know, increase like shielding and stuff like that, those are loadout cards in most cases. If you do have a legendary card, then, like in the case of Ashe and Barrack, they have legendary cards that increase their shielding. They still have a loadout card that does the same thing. Khan, Fernando, Makoa, they all have legendaries around their shield, but they also all have base kit cards that increase the health of their shield, and Ruckus does not. Now that's a big knock to Ruckus. You have to pick a legendary card for Ruckus to get that. Aerial Assault is good for mobility. We'll talk about that more. That is your best option if you want to be more of a tank. Overdrive is very weak. Deal up to 40% more damage based on your missing health. You would think, in theory, that would be good. But the problem is, as a tank, you know, you say, oh, well, I have more health, so that's fine. But in order to get the increase in the damage that you deal, you have to constantly be at a low health, which means you have to rely on your shield to keep you alive, if not your healer. Because your healer will heal you too much, and you'll lose that damage bonus. So it'll basically give you a way to win low health fights, but it won't give you much else. I'm not even going to talk about Overdrive other than this little note right here. See, Overdrive would be much more effective if you had the ability to increase the health of your shield, because it would give you a way to run the 2 cards together. I really think Flux Generator is just a bad card. I see Flux Generator and I laugh. I see Overdrive and I'm like, okay, so I just have to make sure not to shoot him when his shield is up. Pick this, basically. But this is Ruckus's base kit. Now this here's the problem. So you do have a lot of DPS, believe it or not. 40 damage per shot every 0.04 seconds. That is the fastest rate of fire in the game. Now that's when they're fully spun up, people like to say. They melt people rather quickly.
Calculated killing spree. battle.
Yeah, you do have good DPS. If your tracking is good, you can deal a lot of damage. So that's where overdrive does help make it a little bit more sustainable, but it's not really great. What you want to talk about now? So then you have your rockets. That's 2 missiles that deal 250. The thing to note there is that 8-second cooldown, and let me show you why. Hold on. Sorry, it's early in the morning. I'm still kind of tired. I'm gonna run this with the heat. Okay, right? Why didn't that go through?
It appears you need some help.
Wait, what? Why does it say I have 3 charges still? That's glitched. Okay, so this is how Ruckus works, right? We have this. That's great. That does a lot of damage. Problem. That's it. I have to wait 8 seconds before I can use it again. Alright, that's 500 damage, right? And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. Her health is regenning. 500 health.
Never dies.
8-second cooldown. So now you can reduce that with a cooldown build. But let me show you what the cooldown build does. So we'll take aerial assault with the cooldown build. Right?
It appears you need some help. Calculated killing
That's
spree.
not very good. For how little damage that deals, that's not very good. Flux Arrow, this is the other problem with Flux Arrow. I don't even have Flux Arrow built. I think the card is stupid. Let me show you why. So you pop up your shield, you have that nice big shield, and what you have to really realize though is how high your base health shield is. It's 2,500. Now you're adding an extra 1,250, so you have just short of a 4,000 health shield. That on paper is a great thing. The downside is you can't drop the cooldown on it 7 seconds, and you can increase the duration on it as well to, I believe, 9 seconds, I think? It's not very strong on its own, having a 3750 shield.
Engaged.
One of the problems I think I want to mention here is that it helps to have it in third person. I actually can't put Ruckus into third person. I cannot put Ruckus in third person. I did not know that. I should have known that. You see what that actually does is it actually increases your hitbox. So by activating your shield, it makes it so that you have a much larger hitbox on the whole character. So running your shield is basically a giant message that says shoot me now. I run as filler cards in a lot of my builds. I'll run the increase the duration on the emitter by an extra second because it only lasts for 3.5 seconds, and I like to get closer to 4 to 5. It's mainly just like a temporary barrier. It's not anything big. I like how they finally fixed the cooldown on advance, how they properly have advance on the correct cooldown. That's something that I'm happy that they fixed. But so that's the another problem with Ruckus. So you don't have a strong way to defend your team. You don't have a good shield. And you don't have... So what do you have? Well, you have mobility and damage. And that's the problem with Flux Generator and Overdrive. They don't give you those two things. So we're going to talk about the others. We'll talk about mobility, because I have 3 aerial assault builds based on what you do. Well, I should say 2 aerial assault builds, 1 rocket build, and a flex. So your first build, this is Dash and Bash. This is basically con ult you off the map you use this to get on. So this is extra 750 health to make you a bit tankier. I love No Chill. The thing is, when Ruckus fires, he moves very slow. For me, No Chill 3 is a staple. He doesn't get as much of a damage reduction when he is, or a movement speed reduction when he's firing as the champion like Vivian does. I find that the 15% is doable. You're still a little bit slow. It is his movement speed, though. You basically, this card at level 3 gives you your movement speed. The increased duration as a filler, the heal is at 80. I think that's a good filler card, because if you dash, it just lets you give you a little heal. The real advantage of this is the increase in dash distance. We'll get the third charge up and then I'll show you how far it actually is. Alright, ready? Alright, we're good. If you get dismounted, that's a pretty effective way. I've cleared this whole row basically with 3 dashes. And the other thing you can do is go up. You can use it to go up in the air. That's nice. That's a nice feature and a nice change of pace. You can just simply go up like this and start firing from above. I think the disadvantage, really, to aerial assault is it doesn't buff your damage output. It is your best tank build, in my opinion, because it gives you that third charge. The way you kind of have to play Ruckus as a point tank, because he's more of a damage dealer, is you kind of just, like, dash in and out of the point and apply damage, and then when they're all wiped, you sit on the point. Ruckus is great as a push tank. He's very good if you want to, like, if you're going to run a 2-tank team and you bring a Ruckus, you're like, okay, I'm going to go push up now. And you run up ahead and you start doing damage and then you can fall back. He's not really good on much else. So then the other one we have is the self-sustain build. So again, we have the no chill 3. This one we have it flipped where we have 5 on air cooled and 5 on fuel reserve. Now the advantage of this is that if I dash 3 times, I heal for 1200. And if I put my shield up first, basically I can just heal for 1200 health without being affected by cauterize. That's great, because the shield will take it. So if I can dash 3 times really quickly on this build, I can get 1200 health. I can basically get a quarter of my health, and then I have a 5-second cooldown, basically, before I get another 1200. If I'm crippled, I can't do anything, but that's really a sustain build if I'm not confident in my healer. The other one, just to show this off while I'm here, this is full auto. So this is interesting here. This is a flex build. This works on... Actually, I should be showing this off on Rocket Barrage. So what Rocket Barrage do is it gives you 3 sets of rockets. Now, they all have the same cooldown, just like Aerial Assault. The difference between Aerial Assault and Rocket Barrage is that this gives you 3 charges of dashes, and this is 3 charges of rockets. So it's offense versus defense. And Rocket Barrage is your best overall DPS card. You can put out a lot of damage on it. This is my primary build. This is my backup build. Full auto is nice. I have reducing cooldown on missile. Again, the warden and the air cooled as fillers here. They're good filler cards. If you look no chill, again, this is the big part of the kit, is that you get the 25% movement speed while firing, and then we reduce the cooldown on the missile launcher. That's 6-second missiles. That's not great. We'll have to fire off all 3 just to show you. Having the 3 sets is nice, though, because... I'm gonna recharge. I'm gonna regen. It gives you such a nice way to constantly put out good poke damage. Now this is the thing here. This is my movement speed. I'm moving faster while firing. I move faster while firing on this build than I do normally. And this build gives you the ability to flank very effectively because of how fast you move on it. And it means you don't have to buy nimble. You have a deep enough clip at 200 rounds where you should always pretty much be firing. There shouldn't be a reason for it, for you to not be firing. And on a build like this, you really don't have to. You can't say, well, it's because of the movement speed. And if you go for headshots, by the way, you do a lot more damage, especially with that rate of fire. The other build is the Rocket Barrage with Berserker Barrage. So this has 3.5-second cooldown, so this is a 4-second rocket. This has the no chill 3, and then the other 2 is good fillers. The advantage of this is my go-to right here. You fire off the 3 sets of rockets, and it starts to do a lot of damage.
kill. Double kill.
You do a lot of damage on your ult, but you just have to be careful that it doesn't get countered. Another problem is when Ruckus ults, you kind of have to make sure that two things happen. One, you have to make sure you have at least 2,000 health, and two, you have to make sure you have your shield up. Because when you ult, you're a giant fucking target, because everybody wants to shoot you, and if you ult, you have to make sure your shield is up, and then you go, bring it out the big guns! Let's say that was bringing out the big guns. What do you want to buy for items? These are all good choices. This is another problem with Ruckus's kit, and we're going to look at Ruckus's kit problems in a minute, but I want to highlight this now. Ruckus is the only tank in the game without any legendary card or loadout card to grant him any form of CC reduction. He has no crowd control in his kit. If he does not buy Resilience, he's fucking dead. So, Resilience is like a must-have on him against any CC. Like, if you have a Cassie and a Damba, I mean, the rest of the team could be all direct damage. They could have Victor, Vivian, and Khan. Oh god, they have Khan? You need the Resilience. What am I thinking? But you have to buy Resilience at any form of CC if you think you're going to be hit by it a lot. So Resilience, unfortunately, becomes the de facto choice on Ruckus. I really think crowd control reduction card is something that you should have. Although, the changes are coming. That'll be the next video, the changes that they're planning on making to Paladins. Haven and Blast Shield, you know, these are all decent choices. There are better choices out there, but these are decent. Illuminate's not really great on him. Master Rider, not good. Pretty much the only thing I can recommend is Morale Boost. Now, you do have really long cooldowns on primary damage abilities, but Kronos is not the way to do it. If you want to run a shielding build, if you want to run Flux Generator, and you want to get Kronos, and you want to try and run, like, constant shielding, go right ahead. You don't need Nimble, you're better off on full auto. And then Morale Boost is good because of how much damage you can put up. Like, you can ult pretty much at any time with Ruckus, and you force the enemy to retreat, kill you, or stay and take it. Rejuvenate is good if you have a good healer. I actually recommend, he's one of the few tanks, because he does so much damage, you're better off on Kill to Heal. Or even Life Rip. But mostly Kill to Heal just because of the fact that you do so much damage as Ruckus. Like, realistically, you can do insane amounts of damage. These are your first options, should be Caught or Wrecker, believe it or not. Caught or Wrecker if you're not getting Resilience or Morale Boost. Bulldozer's not as effective as Cauterized once again. Death Dance isn't great on him. You have a 200-round magazine. Like, use it or lose it, buddy. Wrecker's even not as effective because of how fast your rate of fire is with Cauterized. Like, even if you just hit somebody by accident, you can then reapply it faster. So Cauterized is the way to go on that. The Ruckus video is quite simple. He's not really a simple character. The problem really becomes...
Double kill.
Killing spree.
Quadra kill. Pentakill. Hexakill.
He does so much damage, but it really requires a lot of timing. If you have your barrages, you can just sit there and burst people down so fast. Like that. But it turns Ruckus into an extended damage. He's basically just the highest health damage in the game. He has no form of sustain, he has no form of actual tankiness or defense. With his shield that just makes your hitbox larger, and he has this ability to dash quickly. That's about it. The rest of it is just straight damage. I would not recommend Ruckus as a solo tank. If you're on an onslaught, Ruckus is good as a solo tank. TDM, Ruckus is good as a solo tank. If you're playing a competitive siege game, I cannot recommend Ruckus as a solo tank. As a dual tank, go right ahead. Run dual tank with one healer, one flank, and one damage, or in a 3-tank setup, with Ruckus being the damage. But you have to realize you cannot run tank Ruckus and be as successful as a damage Ruckus can be. There's also no damage fall off on your rockets, just to let you know. Ah, look at how much damage I'm doing just by poking on Rocket Barrage. So, you get like 500 a set. You have to remember that they are projectiles, so you do want to lead them a bit. Like, that's not gonna hit. You gotta lead it. But, yeah. That was Ruckus. He's a damage, not a tank. He's great for fighting on the front lines, because you can just sort of come in like this and just sort of obliterate everything in sight real quick. You pop your shield more to keep yourself alive.
Double kill. Double kill.
That's how you play Ruckus. Right there. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.